Oh man, what happened at
I haven't
Bethesda?
made a video on the Mick Gordon and Doom Eternal soundtrack drama that's been cooking for the last week, and the reason is I wanted to wait to see how Bethesda would clap back, and today they've given a response, and it is weak. They dropped a wet sock on us. Now, while overall the appetizer they served up was underwhelming, and we'll get into it in a moment, they did, however, make a threat of having something substantial to back up their side of this drama, but they haven't revealed that yet, so for now, it's just kind of empty.
I will be honest, this is lame negotiation drama.
But who knows? Maybe pretty soon in the future they'll come with something stronger after boofing creatine and taking HGH. But as it stands right now, this response from them I think is less than satisfactory. So let's go into the whole situation here from the start because it's pretty wacky and it's pretty sad. Hopefully all of you are familiar with Mick Gordon. He's one of the most well-respected and most talented video game composers of our time. You might know his work from Killer Instinct, Doom.
Not even as hype as the Bayonetta shit. First of all, the Bayonetta shit was like kind of a flub.
Most likely. I absolutely love his work.
Fuck you
I
mean?
always compare him.
The Bayonetta shit was like the perfect example of something that didn't pass my smell test. So I was like, I would wait a little bit more. And then it turned out that there was more to it. And that the person was like actually kind of a fucking, the person was like kind of weird and shitting on like the other voice actor for no fucking reason, like not to defend Bayonetta or anything like that, but what is this? Why are you sending me a Lauren Chen meme, dude? What the fuck? Twitter before Elon versus after Elon? What? You just sent me a Lauren Chen meme. Yeah. Is all HB1 visa recipients that have to fucking stay there, that are stuck. And you just sent me, you literally just sent me, I'm like losing it a little bit. This is like some fucking psychotic right-wing content creator who has like said things like Jews are responsible for the slave trade and shit, you know?
To like Hans Zimmer in the way that if his name is attached to a project, you know that that soundtrack is going to be slapping. And of course, Mick was brought back on board by id Software to be the composer for Doom Eternal. Fans were pumping their fists, sodden, sopping panties, everyone was excited, and it all seemed fine until the Doom Eternal OST released. The original soundtrack. So the OST is different than the game scoring, and when the OST came out, everyone was surprised that it just really wasn't good. Like, it wasn't well made, it was sloppy, and Mick Gordon's got no blemishes on his report card. This is a straight A student. His whole resume is nothing but hits. He's never had a miss, until Doom Eternal's OST. Most people were criticizing it heavily, and then out of nowhere, Marty Stratton of id Software dropped a Reddit post that blamed Mick Gordon for why the OST wasn't great. And this Reddit post came out of absolutely fucking nowhere, like a jump scare, and it pins the entirety of the blame on Mick Gordon, makes it seem like he's hard to work with, lazy, doesn't do what he's supposed to do, and this is the accepted perception of Mick Gordon for 2 years. 2 years ago, Marty Stratton dropped this, and for 2 years, people believed it, which of course had a wildly detrimental...
Prola lad, literally, I told you already, I'm not going to cover this right now, brother. I told you I'm not going to cover this right now. Okay? Bro, look at this guy. Like, literally, I was like, bro, I'm going to do more fun, light news, and then more fun stuff today. So, we start at 11. First thing he does is big delay. Big delay. The delay is not that significant. Then he's like, all right, I couldn't get my juice there. Okay? I couldn't get my juice from that. He goes, there's some horrible trench warfare in Ukraine right now around Bakhmut. Russians are sending human waves, mostly Wagner-recruited prisoners. Okay? There's some horrible trench warfare. He says, Hitler said that the world will forget the Jewish genocide like they forgot the Armenian one. Now, then he says, all Istanbulites are Greeks. And he's like, I'm not picking it up. He's like, come on, just do that. Just do that instead. Okay? Talks about debating someone on ISIS Twitter in 2014. Okay, and this ISIS Twitter defender was an Austrian school guy, like Austrian School of Economics guy. It's like nobody asked, not even enough. Okay. Then he just starts pumping this. Turkey's heavily bombing Kurdish areas right now. Turkey's launching a genocide against Kurds in Syria right now. I'm like, bro, I literally told you. Okay, I told you we'll cover this tomorrow. I'm not gonna cover it today. Okay. I told you. I saw you spamming and I told you. Like, please. What the fuck, dude? Take a goddamn break. Take a break. Like, I'm watching Fulcrum shit himself at Lowe's, and this motherfucker's like, bro, watch this video right now. Watch this right now. Please, bro. Watch this right now. Watch this right now. There's genocide happening. Get into it now. Wait till Monday, motherfucker. Wait till Monday. Okay? Jesus Christ, dude.
Impact upon the reputation of Mick Gordon. Most people used him as an example for
F-16s bombing Cobain. That's not nice. For many of us, it is happening right now, and we can't wait. Okay, bro, if F-16s are bombing your fucking village or your city or your town right now, what the fuck are you doing on Twitch? And also, what the fuck is my coverage over it gonna change? What do you mean, bro? What do you mean? Some of you motherfuckers literally think this is a choose your own adventure. I'm losing my mind. Do you think my coverage over it is gonna stop? What's gonna happen there, or what? No, you're saying this so you can concern troll and then clip it and post it on fucking Twitter and be like, look how unsympathetic Hasan is. Because you're not in fucking Cobain, you're in Idaho. Okay? Stop. Jesus Christ, dude. And I know motherfuckers will be like, bro, it's Turkey. He's just like avoiding it or some shit. But you do this about everything that's going on in the world. And usually I don't even give you the fucking little kitty gloves that I'm giving you right now. Usually I just ban the fuck out of you and tell you to shut the fuck up. Okay? But because it is Turkey doing this shit, I'm giving you the fucking kitty gloves right now. Okay? Because I know no matter what happens, you motherfuckers you're like, oh man, you're so inconsistent. You're just like trying to hide the truth or whatever the fuck. Stop. What? That's not true. I never said I'm in Cobain. You're an ally for many of us. Why are you misreading me like this? Oh my God. That's not nice. For many of us, it is happening right now. What was the implication here? Who's us then?
talented people who are lazy, and that's just the way people perceived Mick Gordon from that point forward. And he never came forward to defend himself until last week. Last week, Mick Gordon came with an over 14,000 word thesis, a fucking Harry Potter book worth of evidence to disprove that, saying that that Reddit post was misleading, factually incorrect, and downright fucking wrong. I'm not exaggerating the scope of this. This report here, it's not a twit longer. This is a goddamn twit novel. Like, it has its own table of contents. And he has printed more receipts than a Walmart. Mick Gordon came with an overwhelming amount of evidence to prove his side of the story. And it highlights a lot of fucked up things in here about what happened behind the scenes. There's so many layers to this onion, it'd make Shrek shit himself. It's wild. And it really seems like Marty Stratton has a personal grudge against Mick for some reason. I don't understand why, but it really feels like Marty fucking hates him. I don't know if Mick Gordon fucked Marty's wife or something, but my god, it really sounds like Marty was twirling his evil mustache here in order to make Mick's life miserable with this project. Let me show you just a quick excerpt there before getting into the deeper stuff. So this is in regards to that Reddit post. So the OST, it was a poor quality release which drew criticism. Marty asked Mick for assistance, and they eventually came up with a couple of ideas. So he offered to draft a joint statement addressing the situation and announcing plans moving forward, and requested that Mick hold off on making further public comments until they could address it together. And Marty then told Mick to expect the draft within a few hours, but it never arrived. Instead, what arrived was a fucking tank of dog shit. Instead, days later, Marty put on the fedora and wrote his infamous open letter Reddit post, which blamed Mick for everything, with the botched OST.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, writing a manifesto is also extremely Reddit behavior. I mean, that is true too.
So that's the level of respect Marty has for Mick. And that's really just the beginning. Get ready to have your heart broken here. Awards. I'm happy to hear Marty feels I deserve Doom's music awards, because the truth is those trophies are kept locked in the id Software office. I've only ever seen them once, behind glass, from a distance. Nobody has ever offered to send me copies, and thanks to the show's producers, I was invited to perform at the Game Awards, but other than that, id Software never invited me to collect the awards in person. Marty invited himself to collect the awards on my behalf instead. It would mean a lot to have a memento of all the hard work I poured into Doom franchise, but as it currently stands, doubt I'll ever see those awards again. So Marty, being the saint that he is, didn't invite Mick to claim his own awards, and instead invited himself to claim the awards on Mick's behalf, and then never sent him the trophies. I don't know why he hates him so much. I don't get it. Now, before diving deeper into the bowels of this filthy colon, let's go ahead and go through some of the summary of facts that Mick Gordon provides here. So he still hasn't been paid for over half of Doom Eternal's music, which is fucking criminal. That is a massive, massive problem that he has still not been fully paid for his work. The Doom Eternal OST was announced with his name attached and made available for pre-order before Mick was even contracted to produce it. And despite Mick's alarm and constant appeal,
they offered Mick a settlement if he allowed the Reddit post to stay up and agreed to a gag order. They then threatened ZeniMax legal action as an alternative. It looks like he signed an NDA for 2 years and then took the bag and wrote the manifesto after. Yeah. No, I mean, pop off. Actually pop off. My dude was, what did he have? Like a fucking, did he have a watch on? He had like a big clock at his house that was just counting down the moments until he could fucking release this thing. That's such a weird thing to put a fucking, to issue a gag order over, by the way. Sorry. My fucking epic Reddit post needs to stay up there.
Marty refused to do anything about it, which led to a 9-month delay. And after 7 months of inaction, he reported his concerns to Bethesda, and Bethesda and him negotiated the Doom Eternal OST directly without Marty's involvement, and he received the contract for this just 48 hours before Doom Eternal was released. The delay was announced a week earlier before he was under contract, and the deadline was 29 days later. This is really only the tip of the iceberg. Things were just filthy with id Software and Bethesda and how they treated Mick. One thing that I think is very important to note is they attempted to bribe him.
No, Mick never took the gag order settlement. He just mentions it as what Bethesda offered him, but he didn't agree to their terms.
Into silence. According to Mick, they allegedly offered 6 figures in order for him to not come forward with his account of this situation. So one of the reasons it took him so long to come forward with all this, not only because of the length of...
Because he was writing a fucking manifesto that was like 1,000 pages long.
In depth he went. Obviously, that takes a lot of time to get all of those ducks in a row. But another reason that there was such a long period between that Reddit post and this, 2 years, is because they kept trying to legally scare him and intimidate him. So there were lawyers involved that would constantly just kick the ball down the field, hoping to keep putting this off, because they knew Ragnarok was coming. They knew Mick Gordon wasn't going to stay silent. He didn't accept the bribe, so all they could really do is try and stall for as long as possible. And that's just one of the reasons that it took so long for him to come forward. They tried to legally strong-arm him and bribe him into not coming forward, which clearly didn't work, and I'm glad Mick Gordon's coming forward because this is a really valuable look into some super shady shit that I'm sure isn't the only time it's happened in the industry. So Mick Gordon calling attention to it and highlighting it, breaking it down, I think is beyond valuable. And it's so great to see Mick Gordon come forward with an attempt to clear his name. And I think this is perhaps the best defense I've ever seen on the internet. This is like a professional S-tier rebuttal. Like, it's actually wild how much evidence that Mick presents here to disprove everything Marty was claiming. When you look at Marty's post in comparison to this, it's laughable. It's written by a clown. There is no evidence to support any of Marty's claims. Meanwhile, Mick Gordon has 14,000 words full of receipts to support his side of this whole thing. Now, you might be asking, how did the OST end up so bad? Well, it's because...
I can't comprehend how this could possibly have happened over a Reddit post. I mean, I understand it. It's just like reputational damage, but it is kind of wild. It is kind of wild to consider that it was over a Reddit post.
Marty and id Software passed it off to Chad Mossholder, who was an in-house audio engineer for the team, and Chad Mossholder took it on and produced less than stellar work. Now, I'm not here to critique Chad Mossholder's talent, and from the quality of the OST, I'm pretty sure he didn't put his best foot forward here. I'm imagining that he only worked on this OST while...
No, I know it's about exploitation. I know, but like, this dude was fucked over. This dude was fucked over by a giant company. Okay, but the main reason why people knew about it and got angry at him personally was a fucking Reddit post from 3 years ago. Because why else would anybody else know about anything? If the other guy had shut the fuck up and not written a Reddit post, this would have probably been settled like every other, like 99.9% of labor disputes like this that end up in arbitration, and no one would hear about it. Maybe he'd write a fucking manifesto like this again, but it's crazy to like not only fuck over your artist, but then to also go on the defensive ahead of time and just like shit on him.
While blackout drunk and pissing his pants and forgetting who he was, because it is so sloppily made. It is amateurish. I refuse.
Yeah, it's wild that every settlement offer from Bethesda demanded Mick let the Reddit post stay up. They even made the head mod of r/Doom put it back up when it was taken down temporarily. That is insane.
To believe a high-level audio engineer actually worked on this in any meaningful capacity. This may have been Chad.
You used Fossabot. I know who made it. Yeah, that dude sucks. The dude who made Fossabot, he's British. I don't know if you know that. Yikes. I'm in here too, bitch. Wait, what? Oh, shit.
Mossholder passing this off to an intern so he didn't have to. I don't know. But it is terrible. Like, from an actual quality standpoint, it is
He's
awful.
British.
I didn't. Oh, fucking
it.
It was the id Software team that forced this poor OST and blamed Mick. Now let's turn our attention to Bethesda's official response that they posted last night. This is the legendary Double Down. The recent post by Mick Gordon both mischaracterized and misrepresented the team at id Software, the development of Doom Eternal, and Marty Stratton and Chad Mossholder with a one-sided and unjust account of irreparable professional relationship. We are aware of all the details and history in this matter and unequivocally support Marty, Chad, and the team at id Software. We reject the distortion of the truth and selective presentation of incomplete facts, in quotation mark, which I find very humorous because facts in quotation marks when talking about actual receipts, legitimate evidence, and they're putting facts in quotation marks.
I mean, a lot of this stuff is qualitative analysis. So I wonder what he did to... Like, I haven't seen it. I wish Charlie would have gone into it a little bit further and like describe what the receipts are. I suspect that it's like awards and also, you know, like things that prove his performance was good. Like probably awards, probably like you know, offerings of you know, salary increases, shit like that, contracts, emails.
We stand ready with full and complete documented evidence to disclose in an appropriate venue as needed. The statements posted online have incited harassment and threats of violence against Marty, Chad, and the id Software team. Any threats or harassment directed towards members of our teams will be met with
Mogul Mail is more detailed. Okay, I got it, bro. You all watched it. Okay, you all watched the Mogul Mail. Holy
swift and
shit.
appropriate action to protect their health and safety.
I'm not going to watch another 15-minute video on this, though, okay?
Remain incredibly proud of id's previous collaborations with Mick Gordon and ask that fans refrain from reaching conclusions based on his account and, more importantly, from attacking any of the individuals mentioned on either side, including Marty, Chad, or Mick. This whole statement, I think, is an absolute toilet paper roll, because you didn't release a statement when Marty went rogue, off book, off script, fucking full-blown James Bond off the grid, and released his Reddit post shitting on Mick. Where were you condemning that? That was a one-sided account of this situation from Marty, and it shit all over Mick's reputation for 2 years, and incited harassment against Mick, and it also irreparably damaged his reputation for 2 years, probably even prevented him from getting some work, I would imagine, because people would read that and be like, well, Mick sounds hard to work with and he won't reach the deadlines, you know, because everyone believed Marty, because his word meant something. They assumed he was telling the truth. Where was the Bethesda official statement then? Marty didn't even drop any level of facts. He just dropped the fan fiction out there. He had no evidence in his post to begin with. And Mick Gordon even made sure to let fans know that he doesn't want this to lead to harassment or anything like that against anyone involved in the team, and even highlighted how there were so many talented people at id Software that he really appreciated and how great it was overall with id Software. Just wanted to highlight these specific problems, which was a luxury Marty didn't afford Mick. Marty at no point made it seem like he didn't want Mick to take the full brunt of the impact from the fans' upset anger. At least Mick went there with class. Now it's a problem, and now you condemn it, and I'm very curious to see what full documented evidence you have. If you do have those kind of receipts, why didn't you lead with that? Why lead with this wet noodle? Why come out here with a threat first instead of just, here's our evidence? I always hate this move where it's, no, we...
Well, it's because it's the president, right? That's it. Like, companies put a lot of emphasis and a lot of influence on, like, on the president over someone who they declare is like a mere composer that they can replace. They often find executives to be irreplaceable, even though they are the most replaceable motherfuckers in a company.
We have the full story.
Like, Twitter didn't fucking implode when the top 3 corpos were fucking yeeted on the first day. It started falling apart when the actual, like, content teams were getting kicked. You know, devs, people that are making sure that the platform is running.
And we will release it eventually. Just fucking start with it if you have it, coward. Christ. Maybe they do have something that somehow disproves Mick. I would be shocked. I don't even really know what that magic bullet would look like here. I guess maybe contracts that would poke holes.
Speaking of Twitter, my fucking mobile app is so busted right now. I don't know what the hell's going on, but I can't even use the application is currently like unusable. It's just like loading for hours and hours and hours on my iPhone. And I don't know what the fuck is happening there. I'll be honest with you. Shit is not. Like, the mobile application on Twitter is busted, okay? I can use the website on desktop, but I cannot use it on mobile. Wait until tomorrow, my dude. I mean, we'll see what happens. Faded than a hoe. A ship that has all of its sailors dead will continue to drift until it hits something or a storm comes. Just because something is still moving doesn't mean it's in good shape. That's so fucking beautiful. What are you, a poet, dude? What the fuck was that? It's incredible, dude. Holy shit. I think a tear fell down my cheek right there.
Into the timeline or some of the claims Mick would make. I'm really not sure. But if they do have that evidence, I really don't understand why they wouldn't start with that as opposed to just putting out this statement saying that they have evidence. Like, I know a lot of people are saying it's an intimidation tactic, but intimidating him to do what? Mick has already dropped his 14,000 word massive report on all of this. What's there to intimidate? He's already dropped the bomb. So why even try and scare him anymore? Like, if you have the evidence, there really was no reason to start with something like this. You could have just immediately went into, here's our proof of our side, and this is what's wrong about his statement. There was just no reason for this. This is just absolute nothingness. And I do want to highlight something in particular where they say that Mick's statement has now led to threats of violence and harassment against Marty and Chad and those involved. I hate that. Unfortunately, that's just a byproduct of assholes on the internet. Mick Gordon tried to handle this as professionally as possible, was beyond generous and patient with this whole team, and eventually, when he found himself out of options, released this publicly. Marty did this as a first resort and led that harassment against Mick. And for some reason, they're especially highlighting it on Mick Gordon for some reason, even though Mick made a very special effort to let people know that it's not okay to do those things. But there's always going to be douchebags.
Even Charlie's
online,
dogs are
happens,
angered by this.
But for them to come out in their official statement and say that because of Mick, now their lives and their safety is in jeopardy, I think is just fucked up. Trying to villainize the victim here for coming forward by using some assholes leaving mean tweets to them as like proof that, oh my god, now everyone's in trouble, like all of their safety is compromised. I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. I'm excited to see what happens next if they really do have evidence. I'm curious to see what it is. But for now, I am definitely on Mick Gordon's side here. I've never seen a response that professional.